Right, straight to the point on this one, ladies and gents. Parcel Simulator is, without a shadow of a doubt, the best simulator game I've played this year. I know, you're probably looking at this footage thinking, Reggie's finally lost the plot. Someone get the lad a shag and a pint before he starts licking stamps for fun. And you'd be forgiven because on the surface, this looks like the kind of thing your nan might play between episodes of Golden Girls, a glorified sorting job that screams virgin energy louder than a Warhammer convention. But hold on to your fragile little minds, because here's where it gets spicy. Imagine if Satisfactory got pissed up, stopped trying so hard and took a few chill pills, and then went on a cheeky date with Papers, Please, but left all the depressing Cold War trauma at home. That's what you're getting here. A game that's clever in its systems but easy to get into. No spreadsheets, no PhD required, just you, some packages, and the oddly erotic satisfaction of chucking a parcel down the right chute. I only booted this up 24 hours ago and I've already smashed 14 hours into it. That's not a game, that's an addiction. So put the kettle on, grab a cuppa, and let me talk you through why Parcel Simulator is pure dopamine delivery. Now, full disclosure, Parcel Simulator was lobbed into my inbox for free, review code and all. But if you're one of the old guard here on the channel, you already know that doesn't mean squat when it comes to my verdicts. And if you're new, first off, welcome. Second, take a butcher's at some of our other videos to see just how brutally honest we are around here. We don't sugarcoat things, we roll them in gravel and chuck them at your nan's greenhouse. And it's important I get that out of the way early, because what follows here on is a hell of a lot of praise for a game I genuinely thought was going to be about as exciting as watching a snail race in the dark. Truth be told, I wasn't even looking forward to doing this review. I saw the trailer, rolled my eyes so hard I nearly sprained a retina, and thought, brilliant. It's Post Office Simulator, the Midlife Crisis Edition, and I know you lot are probably doing the same, sorting parcels, pushing buttons. Ooh, steady on Reggie, don't give me a hard on. But stick with me here, because what this game does and how it does it caught me completely off guard. You see, at its core, Parcel Simulator is dead simple. You're the lone post lad running a warehouse the size of Heathrow, which suggests the local depot's either massively understaffed or the Royal Mail is on strike again. Packages come flying in from one end of this behemoth, and your job is to sort them to the correct exit chute, road, rail, air or sea. Sounds basic, and at first it is. You start off with a little desk, a big old industrial scale to weigh things, and the kind of bureaucratic authority that would give a traffic warden a stiffy. You check the parcel sticker, weigh the bastard, and decide if it's good to go. Simple, but as you start slinging boxes and making a bit of coin, things get interesting. You upgrade your gear, and now you're dealing with serial numbers. That's right, now you're punching in long codes on a calculator, making sure the numbers match up and the package isn't some dodgy knockoff from the dark web. Then it gets deeper, you're checking flag countries, postage stamps, and suddenly it's gone full Papers, Please, except with more cardboard and fewer gulags. As your operation expands, you unlock more parts of the warehouse, which means more chutes, more parcels, and more chances to cock it all up. Now, yeah, it can get grindy, but it's also therapeutic. There's something about being in the groove, scanning barcodes, tapping away like a man possessed, sorting out stamp fraud like you're the Sherlock Holmes of shipping. But no matter how quick you think you are, eventually the pressure mounts. Parcels stack up, the day ends, and it all starts to feel a bit stressful. And it's in that chaos where the real meat of this game reveals itself. See, where it gets proper tasty, you start unlocking conveyor belts. Alongside those come machines, scanners that read barcodes, gadgets that identify the country, or machines that can weigh packages in an instant. And bit by bit, your warehouse begins to evolve. In those early hours though, you're still skint, so you end up sort of a hybrid postman cyborg, half the job done by machines, the other half by your own sweaty fingers. But the itch to expand never stops. You want that ultimate warehouse, you need it, it's industrial foreplay. Now me, in the beginning, I made the classic blunder. I built in one cramped corner of the warehouse, leaving more unused space than a rural Costco. Problem is, those conveyor bridge pieces, they can only go over one row, so my parcels were unable to reach the far chutes to the warehouse edges. The solution? Rip the whole thing down. Brutal, but necessary. I spent hours rebuilding. What you see now is that result, a fully fledged spaghetti junction of conveyor belts that would make the Satisfactory gods weep with tears of joy. To you, it looks like a disaster. To me, it's a masterpiece, a mechanical symphony, one of my proudest achievements, second only to marrying my wife, and even that's up for debate when I see this thing in action. Every parcel glides through a gauntlet of machines, tested, scanned, prodded and judged. Fail, it's straight to my personal reject belt, the chute of doom, with a fat automated decline sticker slapped on it like a walk of shame. And I swear, even now, just talking about it, I can feel my pants tightening with pride. But that's not all, lads. As your empire grows and your bank balance starts looking less like a student overdraft and more like Jeff Bezos' wallet, here you can earn extra by taking on contracts, little side hustles that spice things up. You might be tasked with delivering parcels that meet a specific set of rules like weight class or destination, and in return you get a chunk of change. And if you're flush with cash, why not splash out to unlock new parcel types? They're worth more dough, but you have to speculate to accumulate. And let's not forget one of the biggest curveballs the game lobs at you: time restricted cargo. Some deliveries like boats only go out 1 day a week, or airmail that goes out 2 days a week. That means for the other days, those packages are just loitering around like useless interns, clogging up your belts and making everything look like a logistical car crash. But we at the Cockney Gamer didn't panic. Instead, we innovated. I cooked up a tidy little system using large shelf racks, auto-loaders and unloaders, chaining them together like a parcel nightclub VIP queue. Each rack holds 16 boxes, so suddenly, where I could store only 3 parcels, I'm now storing 16. That's some real estate magic right there. So when I had to shut down a belt with a speciality conveyor, boom, no backlog, no factory constipation, just smooth, creamy logistics flowing like milk through a funnel. God, this game makes me horny. It took some trial and error, yeah, but the beauty of Parcel Simulator is that it always gives you the tools. It trusts you to figure it out without ever becoming frustrating. Every problem has a solution, and when it all clicks, well, it's orgasmic efficiency. So far then, it's been nothing but praise, 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 and I'll stand by every word. For the $15 price tag, Parcel Simulator for me is a no-brainer. You'll get your money's worth and then some. But I would be doing you lot a disservice if I didn't poke a few holes in the packaging, because not everything in this salting utopia smells like roses and bubble wrap. First up, the tutorials, or rather the lack of them. Some of the systems are explained about as well as your mum working the TV remote. Take recycling for example. I spent an embarrassingly long time trying to figure out why I couldn't bin unwanted crap. Turns out you've got to repack the items before chucking it. Why? No idea. It's like needing to fold your socks up before you donate it to charity. Then there's the sorting conveyors. These little bastards are meant to send parcels down Pacific belts based on your settings, but occasionally they do have a wobble and chuck things the wrong way, and when that happens it can bugger up the whole flow until you find that rogue box and manually slap it back into place like a misbehaving kid. Another gripe, the fake flags and country names. Look, I get it, it's probably meant to add a challenge, but it just ends up feeling a bit like I'm working for Wish.com Customs. Give me 30 real world countries any day of the week, at least I know which flag belongs to who without having to guess like I'm on a pub quiz. Oh, and speaking of things not quite making sense, I found myself cheesing the system early on. Didn't feel like sorting? No problem. I just dumped all the parcels on the warehouse floor like I was running a clearance sale at Walmart. That would trigger a new delivery. I'd repeat this all day, and when the doors finally shut, I'd have hundreds of parcels lying around and zero consequences. The game didn't punish me for working through the night, so I'd just crack on and clean house like a late shift gremlin. But the biggest issue of all, longevity. After about 12 to 14 hours, I'd seen it all. I'd unlocked every gizmo, filled my coffers and was only using half the warehouse. There were delivery zones I hadn't even touched simply because, well, I didn't need to. Sure, I could have gone full sweatlord and linked up the entire building into one mega machine, but without a real challenge left, the motivation just sort of fizzled out of me. The best way I could explain it is like finishing a puzzle and realising there's still space on the table. This is where a game like Satisfactory just keeps on giving, and why I consider this like the junior light version. As for graphics, look, there's not a whole lot to write home about here, but that's not the game's fault. It's a parcel sorting simulator, not Cyberpunk 2077 with box physics. What you do get is a rock solid 60 frames per second, although for some daft reason it's locked. Not a deal breaker, but still a bit annoying. Now what did impress me, and it's something I almost clocked immediately, is how crisp and readable everything is. You know how in most games the text on in-game items is blurry nonsense unless you jam your face up against it like a dog at a window? Well, not here. Every label, every serial number, every country flag and cargo sticker, sharp as a tack. You can read them from across the factory floor, and that's no accident. The devs knew you'd be eyeballing these boxes from afar like a parcel pervert, and they made sure you can actually do your job without going cross-eyed. Lighting and shadows, they're decent enough, nothing groundbreaking, but it gets the job done, and I actually rate the art style here. It's clean, clinical, and just realistic enough to sell the fantasy. It feels like a proper sorting centre, just without the stench of regret and stale coffee that you'd get at your local USPS. There's definitely room for more flair though. Imagine placing your own lighting rigs to add a bit of drama, or having a weather system outside the windows, maybe a thunderstorm for that end of shift panic vibe. Wouldn't take much to elevate the atmosphere beyond fluorescent warehouse cheek. Still, end of the day, this is a game about boxes, and it absolutely nails the look of it. Well, boxes, job done. Sound, however, yeah, this one is a bit of a letdown, and most of that blame lands squarely on the music, or whatever that honky-tonk nonsense is supposed to be. It's that old-timey piano plinky plonk you'd expect to hear during a silent film where someone's being chased by a freight train in fast forward. Mate, it got on my tits by the end of the 2-hour mark, let alone 14 hours. Genuinely, I don't know who thought 1920s ragtime soundtrack was the right fit for a modern industrial warehouse, but I've heard more fitting tunes come out of a broken smoke alarm. This is a parcel depot, not the bloody Charleston. Now just imagine that you could buy a little beatbox in-game, tune into some actual radio bangers and have it fade in and out as you moved around the factory. That would have added vibes, immersion, a bit of life to the place, but nah, we got Cringe Fest Piano for Dummies Volume 1. As for the sound effects, yeah, they're fine, functional, the machines whirl, the belts rumble, your character lets out a grunt every time he hops like he's pulled something. Nothing special, but it does the job. Still, it all does feel a little flat, like a party with no booze. The bones are there, but the soul is missing. They need to make a bigger deal of machines going bad, alarms maybe to signify something is wrong, or when you do a big haul, make it a little more dramatic for feedback. And that's the shame of it really, because Parcel Simulator is otherwise a banger, but sound-wise a massive missed opportunity. So no, it's not perfect, but by God, Parcel Simulator is easily the best simulator I've played in bloody ages, and I'd probably rank it in my top 5 of all time. That's right, top 5. Big talk, I know. I recently gave Graveyard Simulator a proper glowing review too, and for my money it seems like we're in a weird golden age of filth and brilliance. While the simulator genre is still overflowing with absolute shovelware bollocks, the kind of stuff that looks like it was coded in a pub toilet, every now and then a real diamond comes tumbling out of the muck, and Parcel Simulator is one of them. Now, I nearly slapped an 8 score on this. The gameplay and sheer addictive loop deserves it, but I've got to be fair, it's missing a bit of that longevity, has a few early teething problems, and could use an extra system or two to really up the ante and keep things fresh longer term. That said, I haven't been this glued to a game in years. The fact my wife, child and boss have all filed separate missing persons report in the last 24 hours should tell you everything that you need to know. Put it on your wish list, put it in your basket, put it in your bloody veins. Love to you all. Reggie out. bye.